All right, Patrick. So our guy Thor Nystrom, who does a podcast on the Purple Daily podcast feed, Before We Die, he's a notable, let's just say, football wagering expert and does a lot of deep research. And his crack research found that if the Vikings beat the Colts tomorrow, it'll be the first time a team has defeated an opposing coach with the same last name as the day of the game.
Well, I'm confused here. What do you mean?
Jeff Saturday. You can beat Jeff Saturday on a Saturday for the first time in NFL history.
Well, I can get over that. My excitement level on that is not real high.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, how many? We probably had a Billy Sunday who coached the Vikings, somewhere back in ancient times in the NFL. And,
there was a Fred Tuesday, but he was sort of out of luck,
Yeah, nobody played on, especially back then. It was always Sunday, before.
Just
they,
wait.
Before
Just wait. Tuesday games are coming. Don't worry about
it. Wally Wednesday. Yep.
Boy, that team's got to be one of the flops of the year, right? Weren't they supposed to have this great offensive line? Yeah. And they were bringing in Matt Ryan, the last 3-4 years of Matt Ryan's greatness. They're awful, and they got Frank Reich fired, and they've just been brutal this year. And it's a very kind of a surprise. I think when they lost Taylor, he's back now, but he was out a month, 6 weeks, something like that. So that's but the Vikings, they have no chance to lose Saturday. No chance. To lose Saturday. None.
I don't want to spoil our Purple Daily episode today, but I think the odds makers would suggest you're correct. So Kirk Cousins, this is just the last 2 years, but I think you could probably take this trend for multiple years. Kirk Cousins is 6-0 at home, coming off of a loss the last 2 years. He's a really? Bounce back master, Pat.
Oh, yeah, especially if the other team sucks. That helps the bounce back theory, doesn't it? It helps a lot. If he was bouncing back against the Eagles Saturday, I'd be less confident, or the Cowboys, or even the 49ers, who really have a hell of a defense and not much offense, but they don't need it, I guess. So the Vikings, however, let's see. Could they can slip behind the 49ers here if they if they slip up again? Do we know who's got that tiebreaker?
Let's check it out. It would be conference record, wouldn't it, Judd?
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was at that game, by the way, last night. The Niners Seahawks. I can tell you, the Niners are a problem. If the Vikings face that team, I don't care if I don't care if Judd's their quarterback. That team is a problem.
So how's the 12th man these days? Still excited or kind of relaxed?
They're a little. Well, Judd would be able to speak to the stadium atmosphere when they were actually like a Super Bowl team.
A couple of times too. Yeah. It was.
They were a little. They're kind of like Minnesota fans in that. So I would say 15 to 20% of the stadium was San Francisco fans who felt no risk at all of voicing their euphoria. Like there was no. Seahawks fans and Vikings fans are similar in that they're probably not going to punch you, but they'll boo you if you start making too much. Yeah,
what type of fan is that?
Probably not going to assault you, but they will boo angrily if you start to get chants going in their stadium.
This is off the topic, but you being out there now, beyond the location of water, I always thought that we were more like Seattle than any other.
Absolutely.
Any other metropolis in America. I thought even more so than Denver, I think. So.
I think there's one, this is a major generalization, but I do feel like sometimes Minnesotans feel the need to justify their Minnesotaness more. Mm-hmm. Like they feel there's like a little insecurity about like being a Minnesotan. People out in the Pacific Northwest don't give a rip with it. Like they're very, very prideful of where they live.
And half of them aren't from there, which is not the case here. They moved there because they wanted to be there, not because they ended up being born there and were too lazy to leave, like me. So
there was an obnoxious Niners fan with he had the old school jacket with all the championship dates, probably like 4 rows in front of us with his wife, and just every time there was a 4-yard gain, would turn around. And so this woman sitting next to me had 4 full tall boys of beer and seltzer, right? Like if you're in Philadelphia, you're throwing one of those at that guy's head without hesitating. I had a bucket of popcorn, and she turns to me and she goes, "Give me some of that pop. I'm going to throw some popcorn at him." And I was like, if this was New York or Philadelphia, you wouldn't be throwing popcorn. You'd be throwing that tall boy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. How much does a nice tall seltzer cost you? At about $25, maybe. Kind of.
I think I'm trying to remember. I just gave we had a couple tall alcoholic drinks. I just kind of gave my card and closed my eyes, but I'm pretty sure it was like $15 or something.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
at least it's a tall one, for God's sake.
15 is a good deal.
Or it might have been like 18 something, but yes, it was not cheap.
So is Ed Donatel, are we going to be more aggressive defensively, even if we don't have to be against the Colts? Or are they going to, because basically against the Colts, you want to stop Jonathan Taylor and you don't care about anything else, right? You don't have to. But are we gonna dial it up just to make Kevin and everybody else happy?
That's my guess, because that's what they sort of did. I think if you go back and look at that Dolphins game, Pat, when the defense hadn't been playing well and they actually played okay in that game, they did that. So yes, I think and the Colts offense, to your point, is just awful. So I think by next week we are calming the masses and saying, "See, look, we did just fine. Everything's under control. I told you that the scheme worked."
Speaking of the Dolphins game, who played quarterback in that game? Burt Bacharach or something? Who the hell played quarterback in that game? I can't. Although Tua has gone from MVP to god awful in the last 2-3 weeks. So,
yeah,
Burt Bacharach pull is fantastic. I love that.
Yes, it's
what
been a while.
the world
needs a good quarterback in the first round.
He could have been that, but yeah, everybody will be okay, and it's going to be it's a great day for a Saturday afternoon game. Downtown will be hopping in a good way, don't you think? After that game, you'll win. Everybody gets out of there when 6:30. Restaurant should be jammed.
Oh, before, right?
Before that, the game starts at noon. Yeah,
that's the first game of the day. So like 3:30, the fans leave.
I thought it was the mid game. Oh, okay. Nope.
No, it's the first game.
That's Christmas. That it's the middle game. Isn't it the middle game one of these weeks?
I think right now the Giants Christmas Eve. I think it's a noon kickoff, but there's a bunch of games on a week from Saturday, because that's the day. I think there's only 3 Christmas Day games.
Yeah, these are both scheduled to be noon games right now. The next 2 weeks, so noon home games. This is a standalone national TV game, but it is NFL Network. It's kind of a nondescript. So Kirk should light the sky these next 2 weeks with no problem.
And they should be stumbling around downtown at 6 o'clock at night, 6, 7 night. Let's do it. Let's fill up downtown.
Let's help the economy. Yes.
Let's get down there and just, there'll be people there to pick you up if you fall down drunk in the street. Don't worry.
Run for mayor. Reusse's making a run for mayor. He's going to challenge Fry next. Come on downtown. Someone will pick you up.
Good luck to him finding solutions for the fact that there's somehow we're getting more people living downtown than we've ever had, and there's no place to shop anymore because they're all going out of business because nobody goes shopping.
Yeah. Right, because it's all housing now. You're right.
Because the Mackey generation calls Amazon and has them deliver it, even though they're 2 blocks away from a store.
That is true. Yeah, I actually had a Subway sandwich delivered yesterday, despite the fact that there's 6 within 2 miles.
Did you really?
You sound like my niece, who's down there every once in a while, and she will call in the morning to have a bagel delivered.
Yeah,
it feels like a bagel.
It's like an extra $5 or something.
Yeah, have a bagel delivered. So
get out of the house for a second.
Get 2.
Oh yeah. Wait, you're gonna tell Judd Zolgad's gonna tell someone to get out of the house?
Unless it's a pizza and I'm drunk. I get in my car if it's noon and I go get something. Run a little errand.
Hey Pat, we know you're on borrowed time here. Well, that sounds bad. You're on limited time here this morning.
Both. You're accurate.
Maybe a little bit of both. So for Twins fans hoping that, hey, well, I mean, the good news is they have $285 million that's just burning a hole. All right, let's go get maybe Carlos Rodon. Well, he just signed 6 years, $160 million. And then someone like John Heyman or someone put out a report of here are the teams that are in on Dansby Swanson. and it's like 4 teams. The Twins were not listed.
He wants. Do you want to come back to Atlanta too? I mean, if they pony up, aren't they going to have to bring him back? Hey, let me say one thing. Pat. One more thing about the Vikings, though. I got a piece they just posted it that's running tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 1,000th Viking game that counts when you count the playoffs and the regular season. And so, of course, I went back and looked at the first. But the point is, I got Bobby Hagan got Fran on the phone for me a couple of days ago. Yeah, I said, Bob, can you get him? He said, call him right now. I called him. 25 minutes. I said, hello, Fran. Goodbye, Fran. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
It was really good. And it was a tribute to Fran. So it worked out good. So, but God, did he roll. You don't get talkers like that anymore.
No. Is that out right now or is it out tomorrow?
Yeah, they posted it this morning. I wrote it like 2 days ago, but
okay.
They posted because it's to appear in Saturday's paper. But game 1,000 for the boys. And you look at the record, it's pretty good. Although they're only 21-30 lifetime in the playoffs. But then again, that's 30 appearances in the playoffs. And you're always going to end up with a loss if you don't win at all. So that's, no matter when the loss comes, you're going to end up with losses more seasons.
They're pretty easily the best NFL team in history to not have won a Super Bowl, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the franchise has been, as we've talked about it, they have not had many periods when, God, are they awful. They're disappointing, but there hasn't been many terrible down periods lasting 4 or 5 years. That they haven't had those somehow. Even with chaotic ownership, with the owners suing each other and stuff like that, they've kind of managed to figure it out. So
yeah.
Anyway,
so
twins wise, we're introducing Christian Vasquez at today down at the ballpark. I'm going to run down there, but I think it's kind of sad that you have to have your off-season press conference to announce an acquisition when it's Christian Vasquez, who everybody said, "Oh, okay, they got another catcher, right? They got another."
This franchise
better than Gary Sanchez, okay? Although but he's basically Jason Castro, right?
Yes,
they're bringing.
It's very much along. That's exactly who I thought of.
Their first signing was Jason Castro, and their most recent is him. And meanwhile, all the pitchers are going off the board, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, who's left?
I was looking yesterday. It's it's gone crazy though. Syndergaard got what? A 1 year deal, but he got from the Dodgers like teens, millions. And you see him try to pitch at the end of the year. He was awful. There's nothing left. He's had the bad arm. He's had so many bad arms, and he still got, I think, $12.5 or $13 million from the Dodgers just because he's still breathing. So, it's.
Do you think they were the Twins just sort of? The more I just sort of think about this, I think more and more that they thought they had him.
Do you really?
I think they thought they had Carlos Correa.
I can't believe it.
And now they're just sitting here kind of like, well, oh, wow, what do we do?
That's got to be part of the reason for letting Urshela go, right? I mean, what they had to, we're going to have Correa. And right. I still can't figure that one out. The only thing I can figure out of why they got rid of him is he played too much. He was too available. He wasn't.
He told Rocco I can play, and
he wasn't
Rocco
on the injured list. He wasn't on the injured list often enough. We resented the fact he made everybody else look bad by actually being in the lineup. That's the only thing I can. I mean, you don't have a first baseman, okay?
Right.
And Miranda's a butcher there, but he's not going to be a hell of a lot better at third, right?
And why are we sure he's going to play third base all the time when, as you just said, there's a fighting chance that they don't have a first baseman unless they're going to play a Rise there all the time? I mean, the Kirilloff thing, I don't trust.
Kirilloff, you got to have a big asterisk by him because you don't know if he's going to play or not. They can get optimistic and say, oh, he looks pretty good this spring, but he's going to be one swing away from being done. at all times. And who's going to play center field?
Yeah, that's another one.
And don't tell me your most expensive player, because he's not going to play center field. He's going to play.
But
coming up next, Byron Buxton's taking ground balls at first base. We tell you why this is going to work out fantastic.
That would be a great idea. Let's get him over there where he can really move around very quickly and test those knees right away. This is a guy who got hurt running to first base. And the base is going to be bigger this year, which means he's got more room to trip over it. Is first base going to be bigger too?
I think so.
But is that good for runners or bad?
That's a good question.
Well, the idea is they don't want their feet getting tangled up and guys tripping and stuff. So
yeah, and stealing. Okay, I understand that, and they want
even first base, like the first baseman getting stepped on or whatever.
That's really whenever they mention the changes, they always mention bigger bases. I said, oh, okay, I think that'll revolutionize the game, get us playing a lot quicker, and it's going to put the running game back in there, right? So we can have the go Twins here. How many of the bases they steal last year? 25.
12, yeah.
Buxton, they were easily the worst in the league, right? So,
hey, I found real quick before you go, I found this Vikings thing. So this is actually crazier than I thought. There are 16 teams in NFL history with a 500 record or better, franchise record of 500 or better. So 16 teams.
16 of the current 32?
Yep.
Okay.
And the Vikings have the Vikings have the 7th best win percentage of all time. The other 15 teams that are above 500 have all won Super Bowls.
That's a very good stat. I wish I'd known that when I was writing.
I should have said this yesterday.
Game. Yes, you should have told me that yesterday.
You know what?
I'll tweet it out.
It's online. Go back into the column. There's still time. You can put that fact in.
Actually, I was going to say I'll tweet out, Pat. I'll put it on another social media platform so that you can access it because I know you're about to bail
I'm
on Twitter.
I'm just not on as much. And I was on Post yesterday. I get signed up for Post because I want to follow some of these guys they're throwing off, Aaron Rupar and some of those guys. And Post is very confusing. Very confusing.
I tried last night. I had a couple glasses of wine in me, but even I was like, what is this?
I got on, but here's the problem. I can tell you the biggest problem with Post right now from reading it. Too many dog pictures. We got all these people sending out pictures of their pets. I've already gone on Post. I was on for an hour, and I was threatening to leave if people didn't stop sending out dog pictures. Half the pictures were dog pictures. What is wrong with you?
I don't need lots of pictures. Instagram, same problem. I don't want to see your life. I want to read your complaints.
Yeah,
yes, the text.
That is true. But you can't. I mean, I think Rupar had like over 100,000. His whole life was like followers, right? And I don't even know why they took him off. He doesn't.
He got taken off supposedly because he was tracking the exact location of Elon's plane.
Well, I think he was retweeting the guy who was retracked.
He did from Facebook.
Maybe he retweeted.
It's 7 days though, Pat. Like,
Elon
came on and cleared the whole thing up. Okay, misunderstanding.
Everything's fine.
7 day suspension. Everything is absolutely fine. You know what? This scheme works, Pat. The Twitter scheme works. Okay. No question about
who's
it.
Elon's favorite football team, Judd? I want you to personally attack his favorite football team and see if you can get suspended for 7 days.
It was poor execution by the journalists. That's what it was. The scheme works.
Exactly.
Yes, but when he notified them, they said it was indefinite, or forever. So anyway,
they're going to notify Ed Donatel. It's indefinite soon.
I tried Post, but it's a little too feely touchy. So
try Mastodon. That's another one.
Yeah, but they tell me that's even more complicated to sign up for. So
okay,
it's
try TikTok.
This guy's come on, God Almighty! I don't want to. When China invades Taiwan, you guys on TikTok are going to be the reason.
I'll just be doing a dance.
Just a Chinese propaganda thing. Don't you know that, for goodness sakes?
Judd, you need to stop. Okay.
Yes, you do. When when Taiwan falls, it's going to be your fault, Judd.
The blood is on Judd's hands.
Yes.
All right, Pat's got to go. We have to go, and so we will reconvene early next week after, I'm sure, a massive Twins free agent signing of some kind and a Vikings victory.
Yes. Hey, remember, we still have Emilio Pagan, so we got that going for us.
Yes.
Maybe we bring Alice Colomé back to go with him. Wouldn't that be good?
Let's do it. Let's get the band back
Ron
together.
Davis is pitching coach. That's perfect. Thanks, Pat.
Goodbye.
All right, see ya. That's Reusse. You can find Reusse's. I guess you could call them segments or podcasts with us. Every single one of them, and the Reusse Unchained podcast on the Mackey and Judd podcast feed, and also the Reusse Unchained podcast feed. We'll see you guys next time.